Hey there, JV. Guess what? It's 2 weeks later. 2 weeks later from when I said I was going to do this video, but now it's this week instead of 2 weeks prior because of reasons. I was having difficulties with the script and everything, and I'll get into all that very shortly. But more importantly, if you have not seen part 1, be sure to click on the image on the screen that you see playing to my right, your left. Yeah, your left. Check out part 1 of the 2-part series. Hopefully you'll enjoy part 1. It was a very good part, if I do say so myself, and it gives you the groundwork for what this part 2 is going to be about. Also, if you don't know much about the Fire Emblem Fates story, that's also a good way to get the Sparks notes. I don't know what you say, Spark notes? On to part 2. So after the last video concluded, I went straight to work on researching what the main video was going to be about this week. And the main video 2 weeks ago, actually, was going to be about was how Eastern and Western cultural values on what makes family and what is more important in a family was representative in the game. How the Hoshido family, the more Japanese family, and the birth family, being the more important of the two choices, was more reflective of their cultures. Meanwhile, the Norian family, your foster family, was more correlated to Western values, specifically North American, but also Western European countries as well. I spent the remainder of that week reading papers, reading articles, reading blogs, all that stuff to try to find out more information to prove my point, and I discovered something very interesting. I was wrong. I'm a big man, I can admit when I'm wrong, and I'm wrong sometimes, and when I'm wrong, I'll admit to it, and this one of the times I was wrong. The point I thought I'd be making in this video is based on misconceptions I had based on my thoughts of what Japanese culture would be, and that would be that birth family was more important than foster family, that your family was more important than your friends, etc. And that's based on misconceptions I had, and I'm sure over in Japan, and China, and Korea, and Singapore, they have similar misconceptions about us, that there's nothing more important than us, and we are the most important things, and we are center of the universe. Not quite related to Fire Emblem, but it's still a point worth mentioning. For some of us, that is the case. At face value, the two cultures seem entirely different. Nor, Hoshido, they seem to be completely different, and they don't seem to have anything in common. I mean, why would they? In that world, they're literally just a border away, but in our world, there's an ocean between us, or a whole bunch of other countries that are not entirely similar to us at all. When you really start thinking about how different these cultures must be, everything about them must be different, right? When you start peeling back the superficial layers of these two families, you start discovering how similar they actually are. The way they view their siblings, the way they view the enemy, and let's be honest, in that situation, no one is without fault. But maybe that's one of the main messages we need to take away from this game. Maybe that's the message we should really be focusing on, that despite the fact that there are so many differences, we're actually very similar. Our values on our society and our family is very, very similar between these two nations. I was looking at this differences between the traditional Japanese family, which is called the Ei, I think it's called. I don't speak the language. I'm not going to pretend to understand how it's said, but you'll see the little thingy there to spell it out for you. And traditional English families, and when you really look at it, you peel away a lot of the cosmetic differences, the geographic differences, the way those families felt about their own family, very, very similar to one another. And maybe that's the core message we need to be taking away from this game in actuality, that for all the differences between these two families, for all the differences that we perceive between our and someone else's culture, that we're actually very similar on the inside, in the spirit, in the soul, in the heart. The idea that we need to close our borders to other people, the idea that we need to build walls where we don't need walls, the idea that we shouldn't be helping people because it's not our problem, it's someone else's problem, and it can't possibly be related to us. That's really not good at all. Suffice it to say, there are moments when you play this game and you think to yourself, gee, this is really awesome, this is a really fun game, the storyline is great, the characters are awesome, the gameplay is exhilarating, I still haven't beaten it, but I'm getting really close, the game is really quite hard, and I'm trying to make a philosophical point about this, but all I can think about is how I watched the Warcraft movie recently, and I loved it. That's not related to anything, this has turned into a random ramble, and you know what? You get what you pay for. You don't come to just another nerdy vlog for intellectualism, you come to see me, and then have Sarah actually talk about things because she actually knows what she's doing, and I just... This script has been giving me such a hard time, in all honesty. I can't seem to find a way to make it work. I seem to be spiraling just in circles with my ideas. They don't seem to be relating to anything. I'm sorry. I expected more from this video, and I'm giving you guys nothing. But if I don't get this video out, I can't do another video, and I have other ideas I want to get to, but I don't want to just do them instead, because then it'll be like the Dungeons and Dragons lessons where I have the first 2 parts and said there's a 3rd part, and I have notes on that, but I never bothered to do it. And as always, if you like this video, leave a big old thumbs up. If you didn't like it, a big old thumbs down works too. Be sure to check it on Tuesdays when I upload, Fridays when Sarah uploads, and hopefully in the near future I'll have a video that actually makes sense and is uploaded on time. Until the next time, TTFN, ta-ta for now. Ta-da!